Hi everyone, and obviously we have all the people on here from Big Brother Bit on the Side, and today we're going to talk about the general topics and obviously the COVID-19, and also we're just going to ask one question. We're going to talk about Big Brother as well, but not too much about it, but just touch base with Big Brother. So the first question we're going to ask you all is, what have you found challenging during the lockdown?
Okay, so who wants to start that? Karen.
Hello, is it me?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have found challenging through the lockdown is like not meeting face to face with people. Like that is really weird. And also I'm working from home as well. So it's like your work is in your house and your boss calls you in your house to do things and whatever. So it's like, it's a strange world, but I'm slowly getting used to it. It's almost like we're in the Big Brother house.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're going to go to Andrea.
Hi, I think the hardest thing that I found personally is becoming an educator overnight for my two boys. Nothing that I would ever sign up to or ask to do voluntarily. So that's been a huge, huge challenge for me and my husband. You know, we haven't been put on this earth to be educators. We're in a completely different profession. So being told that you have to do that and being expected to do that overnight was extremely challenging. So that's been really hard to try and get used to and to achieve good results with as well.
Okay, now we're going to go to Connie.
Oh, me?
Yes.
Sorry. I find the most challenging thing is actually during the day, because I'm so used to having a schedule, you know, where I get up to go to work, and now I'm getting up and I'm thinking, what day is it? What hour is it? And with the family and everything. But yeah, I mean, that is actually one of the most challenging things, I think, definitely.
Okay, now we're going to go to Vandu.
For me, the most challenging thing is just keeping three teenager boys entertained, fed, getting them out of bed before like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. I just think, you know, for them, every day is the same. So for me, it's like just trying to instill some routine in them and making sure that they don't be too lazy and they change toilet roll.
Okay, now we're going to go to Paul.
The most challenging thing of lockdown, no question whatsoever, is not being able to hug my little granddaughter. Just seeing her from a distance and not being able to give her a cuddle is a killer. So there's no question for me, that is the most challenging part.
Okay, and now we're going to go to Sarah.
Yeah, the most challenging for me is obviously missing family and not seeing and hugging my niece and nephews, but also going shopping, just doing your normal grocery shop's been hard. You know, all the queuing and the distance, it is hard to get used to.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to put their thumb up? Who's next? Right, we're going to go to Donna.
Just the physical contact. I think as soon as you see somebody, you just want to hug them, and you know, when you go out and you meet someone, you're used to giving them a hug and a cuddle, and it's that stepping forward and stepping back. I think it's just such a weird feeling, and just routine. Routine's just weird. That's the hardest thing, I think.
Yeah, and
Is
we're
that
going
all?
to go to John.
I think the hardest thing for me, everybody knows that I'm quite a gobby person, is keeping quiet. My partner's working from home. He's doing lots of conference calls, and I'm getting on his nerves because I'm always shouting about the house. So that's really the hardest thing for me, is being quiet.
Okay, so we've got Jessie and Grace's. So Jessie, do you want to say something? Okay, we're going to go to Jessie.
Yep, hi. I think I agree with everybody actually on this scenario. I think it's more challenging around not like the distancing and the shopping and everything to do with that, and just no routine. It's crazy. You sleep late, get up late. It's just, you need routine.
Yeah. And who wants? Does Grace? You want to say something?
Is that all?
Okay, so I'll just say, for me, I just moved out recently, so I live on my own now, but I miss my mum's food because I used to go there all the time and have our food. So it's really difficult. I've actually learned to cook, which isn't very great. But okay, so we're going to open it back to Grace.
Okay, so the second question is, do you agree with the government plan to allow people to go back to work and also go back to the parks? What's your view on that?
Okay, so we're going to go to Karen.
Well, the view for people to go back to work, because I think the message, if it's not clear, it was that if you can't work from home, then go back to work. So there was a lot of confusion. I mean, should a hairdresser go back to work? They can't work from home, etc., because their business is in a different, obviously their industry can't open. And the going back to parks, I hope people are going to be sensible about it and not, go into, so that we have a second wave. So that's my view. I think it's too soon for all of this, my view, and the schools opening too.
Okay, I'm going to go to Sarah.
Yeah, I just think it's too early, especially there's still too many people. The curve's still not low enough for my liking. There's still too many people dying. There's still too many people affected, and I think it's just too high.
Okay, and now we're going to go to Vandu.
I think going back to the parks, I'm going to answer that question. I think there was a confusing message last Sunday, and people aren't social distancing in the parks. I've been in the park this weekend on my own, and the children, they want to see their friends. They're going to the parks and they're not social distancing. So, we should have probably had clearer direction, not going out. I just think we're going to have a second wave. They can't be cooped up in the house all the time, especially teenagers, and then the young ones, they're just going up and hugging each other. I've just seen it all weekend. It's going to get worse over next week with the weather being even hotter. So I think it was too soon to uplift that. We should have stayed in a total lockdown for a further couple of weeks.
Okay, now we're going to go to Paul.
Yeah, I think it's an impossible situation, really. And I think it will take 2 or 3 weeks until we know if they have loosened the lockdown too early. If we get a second spike, then we're in trouble again. So I don't think we're going to know for a couple of weeks, but it's an impossible situation.
Okay, now we're going to go to Connie. There you go.
Hi, I think it's very mixed messages that he's given out. That's the problem. I think if it had been clear cut, we would have all understood what the hell was going on. To go back to work if you can't work from home. I'm a dental hygienist. I can't go out to work yet. A lot of other people can't go to work. Mixed messages with, are you meant to drive the car? Who knows? Everything's gone up now. To go on the train now, you don't get all the supplements going on. So you're not meant to go on the train anyway, but congestion charge coming back for the car. So that's mixed messages. Also going to the beaches, everyone can go as far as they can driving. Maybe that should have been limited to a certain area so they didn't have to drive out to the beaches, because a lot of people are worried now. Where they had low places in Cornwall, low amounts, now it's going to go up because people are driving down there to the beaches. So yeah, lots of mixed messages is what I think anyway. So maybe it should have been a bit clearer.
Okay, now we're going to go to Grace. Oh, 1 second. Okay. Yep. Grace.
Yeah, I totally agree with what everyone else say, especially when Karen talked about hairdresser, because not only am I a singer, I'm a hairdresser. So I can't, and I'm a mobile hairdresser, so I can't even go to my clients because my clients are crying out and say, Grace, help. What am I going to do with this hair? So that as well, and then going out too soon, too soon. Even was looking on Instagram, and when I look on Instagram, I see people having road parties, right? Road parties with sound systems by garages, and people are coming around and people going social distances, but there is so many people out there. It's ridiculous, and it's like they don't care. They don't care who brings something to them, or they come and bring something back to their family. Because we don't know who have it. Some people don't even know they've got the virus because they're not showing on any symptoms. But we have to be really careful out there. And I think Boris should have thought, no, you stay into your area. Do not come out of your area. Stay home. If you can't say it, stay outside your door, but walk back in.
Okay. And anyone else want to say something? Hey, John. Okay, I'm gonna go to John.
I just think where the government's went about it the whole long way, and they've done a wee bit too little, too late. They should have done what other countries done, like the likes of New Zealand. I think it's New Zealand where they haven't got any sickness whatsoever, and the government's went about it the whole long way. And even when they're doing out all this clapping for the NHS, there doesn't seem to be any social distance for that. So complete mixed messages all the way through. Yes, they're firing money out of people, but they went about it the whole wrong way. And we are going to get a second wave. It's inevitable.
Okay, so on my point, I think from devil's advocate, it's very impossible to have social distancing in the real world. You know, there was an article about in Heathrow Airport, someone said if you was going to have social distancing, to board a plane would be 1.5 miles long. It would never work. In the real world, in, you know, supermarket, you can't physically force people, and it just doesn't happen naturally. But I think the government was wrong to say people can go out, go to the park, go and sunbathe, meet with a person, because at the end of the day, the first people that should be having a bit of freedom are the people that are working, like the hairdressers and everything, because they need to pay rent, they need to pay mortgages. So the social aspect should be the last thing on people's minds. You shouldn't be going to the park to sunbathe. You should get people in jobs to start the economy up. But again, it also comes down to the peak. The whole idea was to stop the NHS overrunning, and the NHS is actually doing very well. It's quite quiet, actually. So the peak is over, and now we need to get a bit more back to normal. But I'll give it back to Grace now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we have to thank the NHS and everyone who's actually helped during this difficult time, you know, to keep our country going. You know, hats off to everyone, whether it's a carer or whether it's, you know, a pharmacist or whether it's a social worker or whether it's, you know, everyone. I think in general, everyone is pulled in together and we work together really. So I think if we look at it really, we've come through a very difficult, challenging time that we've never experienced for so many years. And, you know, really, we've done pretty well considering. The last question I want to ask about the COVID-19 is, obviously the government is planning to let the school go back, or the primary school, in June. I mean, what does anyone think about that, what the government is planning to do?
Okay, we're going to go to Andrea. There you go.
Thanks. I was preempting that question, which I kind of jumped on because it's obviously a hot topic in our house with 2 children. And we have 2 boys, and they're both in secondary school. And they go to different schools, 2 different secondary schools. And my youngest goes to a brand new school, and it's only the first year group that's in that school. And it's a huge brand new school, and they have plenty of option to social distance if they need to. They can separate the classrooms. They can put gaps in between the desks if they need to. But my oldest, who is also in secondary school, goes to a very old school. It's like 100 years old, the building. It's not very well maintained. It doesn't have a huge amount of facilities that are that great. Like just before lockdown, they were even struggling to like keep up the soap in the soap dispensers so that the kids could clean their hands. So, you know, as a parent, I don't feel comfortable with my eldest going back to his secondary school because I don't feel we don't feel that he could go back safely. Whereas the younger one, probably they could get away with it in that school because of the fact that it's a huge building and it's only 1 year group. But it would horrify me if I had to send my oldest one back to his secondary school tomorrow, because the state of the hygiene situation is awful, and it's just overcrowded anyway. So I just don't even know how they would do it safely. So that you know, to me, I think, you know, for now, let's just leave them where they are and just, you know, set out the guidelines for probably September so that we all know as parents what's going to happen over the summer period, and get them back when it's a bit safer to do so.
Okay, now we're going to go to Karen. There you go.
Okay, I work within education. I'm not a teacher. I work in finance within an umbrella of schools. And my concern, because there isn't really a record of a great big spread of this COVID going amongst that age group, but we have to consider the staff and the teachers. They would have to go into an environment, maybe this could spread, the young children could be super spreaders or spreaders. We need to, and at the moment, the trade unions for teachers are not in agreement with the government wanting these children to go back so quickly. And my concern is really for the safety of the teachers and staff working in school buildings, because all school buildings are different. So social distancing will be unique to each and every individual school.
Okay, now we're gonna go to Connie. There you go.
Well, what I'm really confused about, and I have to say, because I'm reading the papers, they're going to let children go back certain years. The teachers are very worried, as I can see. Also, I keep reading about this Kawasaki syndrome, which keeps coming back. Now, if children are going to get ill with that, I mean, children have died from that. That's my worry. The other thing is that if they're not fit children to go and see their grandparents, which has been written down, children carry it. They're not allowed to see their grandparents. Well, if that's so severe, why are they going back to school then? Because they can take it home and go visit, or not. They're not allowed to visit, obviously. But if you're not allowed to visit your family, how can they possibly be going back to school? Sorry, confusion.
Okay, so who else wants to say something? Okay, we're going to go Vandu.
Oh, sorry. So for me, last weekend, when the announcement came out, it was all about primary school. There was not enough information about secondary school. I've got 3 teenager boys in secondary school. As far as I know as a parent, they're not even going to go back to school till September. I agree with everything you're saying about safety and the health and the teachers, but what about the mental well-being of teenagers being still stuck at home for another 3 months with nothing to do? I've got a year 13 and a year 11. They stopped in their tracks on doing GCSE and A levels. They've got nothing to do to keep themselves occupied. Okay, last week they're now allowed to go to the park. What they're going to do for 3 months? So for me, I'm a confused parent. I think schooling is a big issue and we need some proper guidance from the government that if they can't go back to school, what have they got to do for 3 months? They need some structured lessons through home, which isn't happening either. So for me, it's total confusion and a total mess. So now I've had to put in a little bit of a structure for my youngest son. My oldest 2 teenagers, they're just, you know, for me, I just feel like they're going to be really lazy by September to go back to school after it'll be 5 months, 6 months. I just dread to think what state these teenagers are going to be. You know, they've had no closure from year 13, year 11. That's my opinion.
I think for me, like I've looked into this a lot because my nieces and you know, I really care about them a lot, and I want to know what's going on. I think it's it's an impossible job. Karen made a really good point about the teachers. Obviously, yes, the teachers, it's difficult, but at the same time, they've done studies and said kids need education, they need routine, or for their mental state. When you're growing up as a young person, it can affect you big time. So there isn't a right answer, unfortunately. If you bring them back too early, you bring them back late, there isn't a right answer. So I guess giving the government the benefit of the doubt is they have no choice. You have to slowly start. There isn't a right answer. I think for kids, the social life is very important. And also parents at home. I know my sister is struggling, single parent, and she's working, and her mental health has been affected because she can't, you know, so it's a very interesting subject, and there's no right and wrong answer in my opinion. But I think, did Grace, you want to say something? Let me open it up.
Yeah, I'm on mixed messages. Balance. Obviously, some parents want to bring back their kids back to school, granted. But also, my thing is when it becomes to going out to playground, they might not be able to go to play outside. Kids automatically runs into the school. How's a teacher? There's going to probably not be enough teachers to stop kids. So mentally, the kids thinking, I'm going back to school to see my best friend. Oh no, you're not allowed to touch each other. You can't hug each other. So mentally, they might go home crying, Mum, I can't be right next to my friend. Like, I can't hug her, I can't do that. So that mentally can disturb them as well. So there's like, oh, I don't know.
So, and sorry, also in if they do go back to high school, how are they going to protect any child being bullied? Broke out in the classroom, or a child has altercation with a teacher. How do they have they put something in place for that?
Yeah. Okay. Does Sarah? Did you want to say something? Let me open it up to her. There you go.
You know, I was just going to say that I do agree, and there's no right answer. But myself personally, I would think it's too soon to go back to school. And if they do go back to school in September, maybe do it gradual, because you've got to remember this is a killer disease. There's kids with asthma. You know, there's that new disease that's out there as well that's killing children. We don't know enough about that yet, I don't think, to start sending kids to school.
Okay, I'm going to open it back up to Grace. Do you want
How long have we got, Dan?
About 15 minutes. So
15 minutes,
do the
okay.
last question.
So I think we've obviously talked quite a lot. I think it's interesting points from everyone, really, and it's quite nice to hear different opinions about what's going on at the moment. Now we're going to go back just to lighten things up a little bit. So I'm going to just ask you all about what we love most, which is Big Brother. So can you all share with us what is your favourite memory of Big Brother?
Okay, who wants to start that one? Who's the first one? Paul. Okay, we're going to go to Paul.
Well, so many great memories from all the series, going right back to series 1 when Craig Phillips confronted Nasty Nick. I mean, that really set the ball rolling, didn't it? From that right up to the unbeatable David's Dead episode with Tiffany Pollard and Angie Best. So you've there got a span of about 16 years of classic episodes in between. So those are just two of the highlights for me from series 1 and the David's Dead, which I think is unbeatable.
Brilliant.
Okay, now we're going to go to Connie. There you go.
I think what kept me going, I have to say, I mean, there were so many different ones. I mean, trying to put it all in a nutshell, really. One of the ones that I really enjoyed was one with Lee Ryan, where you
I think your audio is going. Okay.
It went on the other one stayed, and when without one left, and then you have the can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh, sorry, did you hear that? I don't know if you heard all of that. It was with Lee Ryan when you had Casey in the Jasmine Triangle, and he kept going from one to the other, and then you had when one went out, I think it was Jasmine went out, and you had Casey in there, and the mother came in when there were statues.
Yeah.
And you had the outside influence coming in then, which she didn't know what to do then. And obviously it just kept going on and on and on. Because you had the triangle, which kept going for weeks, I think it was. In fact, it went through the whole series. Yeah. So that was one of my favourite ones.
Okay, now we're going to go to John. We have 10 minutes remaining.
Yeah. One of my favourite episodes ever was the celebrity one with Pete Burns and his gorilla coat getting arrested. I mean, that took me to the fair. And I think Pete Burns was one of the best celebrity housemates that there ever was. Even when he used to come on the BBBOTS and he used to be on that panel and things, the guy just made me laugh from start to finish. And how he talked to the other housemates and things, and how they all sort of got taken in by Chantel that year as well. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Okay, now we're going to go, we've got, I think we have to keep the answers a bit shorter, but we're going to go to Karen.
Okay, short and sweet. I'm just going to say Civilian Series 6. We had Craig and Anthony, and Craig really fancied Anthony. Anthony didn't have a clue, and it was just so funny watching that unravel.
Okay, now we're going to go to Andrea.
I think classic housemate for me, and moment, I guess, is when Nikki Graham came onto our screens and probably, you know, took everyone's hearts, the nation's hearts, really. And, you know, even till this day, you know, she's one of the most iconic housemates, and, you know, and kind of has embedded herself as an iconic Big Brother housemate. So just watching her and watching her story develop on screen was quite iconic in my eyes.
Okay, now we're going to go to Sarah.
Oh, I absolutely loved it when it was Rich House, Poor House with Jade. And I also love the celebrity version when Jackie Stallone was in there. And it's like, hey, Jackie. That was brilliant.
You did that well.
And now we're going to go to Vandu.
I've got loads of you know, memories like you guys. I think my most memorable one is when the Alison Hammond one, when she went in and when she jumped on the table and she went, I think I've just broke the table, and she actually just jumped on the garden table. She was such a big character, you know, and look at her, she's such a success now. I just think that whole series just made me laugh from start to end.
Okay, now we're going to go to Grace.
His name has just slipped me. You know, the one who was behind the door, and he went, that's the way, I like it. He made me laugh all through that show. And also the first series with Darren, with Marjorie and the chicken.
Yeah.
Okay, now who else wants this? Who hasn't said something? Anyone else? Okay, so for me, it has to be the series with Bear. The reason is I've never hated a housemate so much. So for that reason alone, I just had so much to talk about every night. And it turned out after we actually kind of became weirdly enough friends at the time. But in the house, I hated him so much that when you have a character like that, it actually makes the show, when you're annoyed at someone, it makes it more entertaining in a very strange way. Anyone else, just before we wrap up, want to give their favourite memory? No? Okay, so we'll just go back to Paul. I think you've got another one.
No, I was just going to say that what you just said, another question for another time, might be your favourite housemates and the housemates you hated. When you mentioned Bear, Stephen Bear, you can add Helen Wood to that mix as well. So Grace Harris, bear in mind those sort of questions will be interesting.
Okay.
I will do, Paul. And
right,
I think
thank you so much, everyone. Grace, I'll let you finish it off. We've got a few minutes and then
how many minutes have we got left?
About 3 minutes.
Oh, so that's, I think, you know, we've all sort of shared, as I said before, we've all sort of shared different opinions, and it's really good to hear different stories. I'm now hearing about all of you, what's your favorite Big Brother memories. So it's really, really good to hear from all of you guys. And obviously not saying that we have all missed each other, so it's nice to see each other's faces again on here. And obviously we will continue doing this obviously every once a week or so if possible. So thank you very much for all you guys joining in, and we will be trying to do another one like this again, and hopefully invite some celebrities as well. So that's upcoming.
Next Sunday. So this was like the pilot episode, but I'm going to end on a corny note. The best thing about Big Brother has been meeting all you guys, you know, like the fact we've all stayed in touch, and it's an absolute blessing. And it just shows we can all come from completely different places, but we're all one family. So thank you. I love you guys, and
take care.
I will see you in the next one.